is 90 some odd percent, I believe, male. Only about 20% of white males voted for Biden. You got to figure that in the Guard, they're probably not more than 25% of the people that are there protecting us who voted for Biden. The other 75% are in the class that would be the large class of folks who might want to do something.
Unbelievable. Real, but still unbelievable words from Congressman Steve Cohen suggesting that our National Guard, because of their potential race and voting history, should be subjected to suspicions of whether or not they're domestic terrorists, whether or not they're capable of violence. Let's bring in Congressman, which among his titles as a public servant might be the least relevant in the current situation because Congressman Michael Waltz is also a National Guard colonel and a former Green Beret. He's also part of the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for being here. As you listen to the words of your colleague there, what's your reaction?
Shocking. I think every veteran, every Guardsman is offended by those comments. You know, it is not about the person. It is about the oath. They take the same oath as every member of Congress, those Guards, men and women that are out there right now to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies. And so, you know, one of the things he just doesn't understand or refuses to is these Guardsmen and women come from their communities. Their units are right there in their communities. He's got his facts wrong, that there's about double the amount of women that are in the Guard. There's a higher percentage of African Americans than the national average. But it's just it's the definition of racism to stereotype an entire group based on their skin color and their gender. And so it's just offensive all around, and it's insulting. You know, and at the end of the day, this is why we need more veterans in Congress, because we know that in the foxhole, black, white, brown, socioeconomic background, and certainly political party doesn't matter. It's about mission. It's about country. It's about getting the job done. And that's what those Guardsmen and women are focused on right now.
A guy by the name of Cam Edwards tweeted yesterday, Congressman, about this. Way to get into the spirit of Martin Luther King Day by judging people on the color of their skin and not the content of their character.
Well, yeah, it's the exact opposite of what MLK would espouse, where he dreamt for his children a colorless society, and one based on merit and, as you said, the content of their character. So they're just disgusting comments. It reflects a real ignorance of how the military thinks and works. You know, when I came in, Clinton was the president, and I made all of my soldiers ensured, and so did my sergeants, that it was always President Clinton. There's only one commander in chief. And I got to tell you, when you're out there conducting those missions, there is no politics. There's just your brother, your sister to your left, your right, and their fellow Americans. You don't even have a clue who anybody voted for. Yeah. That doesn't even come into the equation.
The Senate confirmation hearings begin today as President-elect Joe Biden is choosing his cabinet, and you have some concerns. I know you sent a letter to the Foreign Relations Chairman, and in that letter you talked about being tough on Cuba and Venezuela. What are your concerns about some of these choices?
Well, the letter was also signed by Representatives Salazar and Jimenez from Miami, and our concern is that we are walking into Obama 2.0. Biden is nominating the same folks. He's just bumping each one up a level. That open the door to Cuba, open the door to Venezuela. And, you know, it's this underlying philosophy. If we're just nicer to them, they'll be nicer to us, and they'll be nicer to their own people. We have seen political prosecutions and extrajudicial killings rise exponentially since Obama opened the door to Cuba. They're being much more harsh on their own population. The money that flows in only goes to the elite, the socialist and communist elite, and further enriches and empowers them. And we need some real red lines before we even go into these hearings, that they are going to hold the line when it comes to human rights, when it comes to democracy, and when it comes to taking a tough stance on the abuses, just the gross abuses of the Maduro regime and the Castro regime.
Congressman Michael Waltz, we appreciate you, appreciate your service and your words this morning on what is a shocking topic that we're talking about today, judging our service members on the color of their skin. Thanks so much, Congressman.
All right. God bless.
Right. And Will, and who they might have voted for.
Who they might have voted for. A double purity test, Steve. A double purity test.